Hi, this is the key to the quiz 11. We graded the quiz 11 and we found some problems. So I hope this video could help you to understand better. The quiz 11 is about chapter 8. Chapter 8 is about the confidence interval. And we talking about confidence interval for the population mean mu and also confidence interval for the population proportion. So let's take a look at question number 1 first. So this one is about the data is right here as a table, right? And then with the R output. So you can see here, this is a very good chance to practice R. So MPG is those numbers, right? So basically from this table, we just input the data into the R, and then the length tells us the sample size. And then we get the mean of the MPG if we put the X as the MPG, right? And then mean basically says is X bar is that, okay? And then SD is the standard deviation. Basically SD X bar is 10.4. And then the third one, we want to know how many observations are over 100. So among these 25 observations, we have 7 of them are over 100. Now let's take a look at the questions. What would be a good estimate of, first, we assume MPGs are from a normal distribution with the mean as mu and the standard deviation is sigma is 10. So this is the assumption. So what would be a good estimate for the mean mu? Because this mu is what? Is the population mean, right? So what would be a good estimate for the population mean? It's always the sample mean. That's why we use this guy. Okay. And then construct a 95% confidence interval for the mean mu. So this is because under assumption we know sigma, that's the formula, okay? Because it is the Z, because we could use the sigma here. And then we plug in the numbers. That's how we got this guy. All right. Part 3 is about the interpretation of confidence level. Remember how we gonna interpret this 95%, right? This 95% means what? Means if we have 100 samples and then we could construct 100 confidence intervals as in part 2. This is one of them, right? And then about how many of those intervals would contain the true mean mu? Of course, this is about 95 of them. So why is that? Because 95% is the confidence level. There is a caveat here. So we got an interval, right, from this data right here on the top. Can we say this interval contains the mu with probability of 95%? No, we cannot do that, right? Because for this interval, this is just a fixed one, because with one sample, we get this specific one, and then mu is also fixed. So in this case, mu is either in this interval or not, right? Because mu is constant, and this interval is also constant. Then either mu is in it or not. That's exactly as I explained in the lecture. So this 95% is what? Is kind of like an unemployment rate I explained in the lecture. So for example, like 4%. So 4% that's for the whole nation, okay? But for an individual like us, we only have 2 status, either employed or unemployed, right? There is no such a thing as 4% to be unemployed. Here's the same idea. Given a sample, we can only get one interval, and then the population mean mu is either in it or not. There is no such a thing as 95% to be in it. Okay. All right. And for part 4, this is about the sample size selection. We use this formula right here. Okay. See, as this big, we always round it up. That's why the size should be at least 69. Okay. For part 5, is the normal distribution assumption important for this equation? For this question? Yes, it's important. Why? Because of what? Because our sample size is only 25, is less than 30. We cannot use the CLT. Remember to use the CLT, the sample size to be at least 30. That's why here at the beginning, we have to assume this normal distribution. Since this population is normal, that's why even though this sample size is 25, we can still use what? Use the Z for the confidence interval because it's normal. Now, move to the second part. Keep all the assumptions, but the standard deviation sigma is unknown. Now we abandoned the assumption of the sigma equals 10. Then what would be a good estimate for this population standard deviation? Of course, is the sample standard deviation. Construct a 99% confidence interval. Here, 99 confidence interval becomes what? We have to use the T now because here we use S. So to get this one, you could get this number from the T table or from R, both, and then plug it in, you should get this one. Now you can see these two, that's the difference, okay? Here, if we keep use the Z, then this 99%, this Z is different, right? This value is different. And also is a very good way to verify it in R. We can use this code. Okay. Yes, the R can give us everything. See, take a look. Okay. And also be careful, degrees of freedom is 24. Okay, if you go to the T table, you have to use the degrees of freedom equals 24. Right, because it's n-1. Okay. All right, for part 8, P as the true proportion of the MPGs that are above 100, what would be a good estimate for P? Of course, this is the population proportion, right? We always use sample proportion to do it from R code, right here at the beginning. Right here, 7 over 28. That's how we get that. And then calculate 95% confidence interval on P. We use this formula right here. For the P, we use the Z. We plug in the numbers. That's how we get this guy. And then the last one, a lot of you guys made a mistake because we gotta be careful about regardless of the true value of the P. For this case, if you go back and check the lecture notes, you would know that we have to replace the P hat with what? With 0.5. A lot of you guys just use this P hat with this P bar as we did from part 8. This one is the way we use the sample information, right? What do we mean by sample information? Because the sample tells us we could use this guy as 7 out of 25. But here we say, regardless of the true value of the P, because we use the sample information 0.28. If you use this number, replace 0.25, that means you have to use the sample information. You assume the true P is 0.8. No, excuse me, 0.28. But here we say regardless of the true value of P. That means we don't care what the true value of the P is. That's why we have to use this big sample size. If you plug the 0.28 in it, definitely that sample size is smaller. I hope this video could help you a little bit about quiz 11. And if you get more questions, please let us know. And good luck to your final exam. Bye.